Brendan Ingle, you're a religious man. You started off as a Catholic. You're Church of England now. You observe Ramadan, and so on. Your wife is a big church worker, and so on. So it's a very Christian household. And yet boxing, let's face it, is the ultimate in contact sports. In fact, I think we once said boxing is the only activity where you can actually legally kill somebody.
That's right, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day, that's been your life, but is there ever any, perhaps even when you say your prayers, really, I'm sure you do you ever doubt really what you're doing, the trade that you represent? Because there obviously is a feeling abroad about the morality of boxing.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you, and I'm glad you've asked me the question. People say to me, how would you describe boxing at its worst? And I say, well, it's a dirty, rotten, horrible, prostitute and vindictive game. You say, well, you as a Christian, how can you be involved? Well, I says, life is no different. If you think life is going to be fair with you, forget about it. It's very, very difficult. But I says, about boxing, I says, if you got a good manager, a good trainer, excuse me,
yeah.
I've got my phone
That'll
there.
That'll be Frank Warren. Do you want to answer it? Go on.
No, I'll leave
Live
it.
TV, this.
But it's life. I say to them, you know, life is not fair, but you've got to be fair, and if you feel in your own heart that what you do is right, I teach my lads to get in there, to box to the best of their ability, do what they can within the rules to win, and when the fight or the contest's over, hopefully nobody's got seriously injured, you shake hands and it's over. Now, I don't ask them to do what I haven't done myself. I boxed.
Yes.
I boxed from the time I was 8 or 9 till I was 31. I've got all the scars and everything else. I've done it. But I would never fight. You know, when I got really into the boxing, I had my fights on the street. But when I got to 20 or 21, you know, I says, you know, I shan't fight in the street. I shall, whatever abuse, whatever happens, if you're going to fight, you want to fight for money. And this is what I teach. And it's a marvelous game, the discipline of boxing. You don't appreciate life until you nearly die. And when you're in boxing, you take your own life into your hands when you get in there. You've got a referee. And it's a marvelous game. You cannot explain to people unless they've done it.
No. It's changed your life, presumably. I mean, I think you've got the same gym. You still live in the same house, do you? They've always lived in?
Yeah, across the road, yeah.
But obviously, Naz has done very well. I presume that you wouldn't be the canny Irishman you are unless you're on a percentage. I know Frank Warren is... You pay tribute to Frank Warren for promoting him at that world
Frank
level.
Warren done a... Honestly, people that listen to this programme, you know, I've always worked on the fringe with Frank Warren, never been involved with him. The best thing with Naz and myself and my fighters is Frank Warren, because he's probably one of he's the best promoter in the world. And he's here, and he's developed, he's took boxing out of London to Sheffield. At one time, when I was boxing, everything happened down in London. You had to go down there a day off work, if that was the situation. Stop there the night, come back the next day. I mean, see, the cost of going down to London to watch boxing or whatever was very, very dear. Now in Sheffield is more or less the capital of boxing. To me it is. And Frank Warren's come up here and says, yes, I'm going to put the show on, I'm going to put the show on. Richard Caborn, the local MP, he's got involved. Yeah. All these people have got involved. And the boxing's in Sheffield.
Because it's a time when Sheffield has been so ravaged in the last 20 years by the decline of the steel industry and all the horrors that have happened to Sheffield. And now there is, obviously, we can see the regeneration. But you have put some pride into being a Sheffielder, haven't you?
Well,
do you see it that way?
Well, I do, because the point is, I've learned, you know, when I first come over here, I didn't like the English. And my grandfather was English. I was Roman Catholic. All the trouble in Ireland, I'd been through the whole lot as a kid, learning history and everything else. I was probably very, very naive. When I come over here, you know, when I met my wife and I joined the library and I start learning and everything else, and I start seeing back-to-back houses. I worked in the steel works. I'd done all the menial jobs in Sheffield, but I learned. And I used to clean the streets around the place, and people used to look at me gone out. And I used to go to court with kids that were in trouble and all this crack. And I got an honorary degree from the university in Sheffield, and I thought to myself, it's marvellous. But people, whether they're Irish or English, and they're so married into one another, the Irish and English and the Scotch and the Welsh, and when I see them fighting, I just give up hope. But I see them while you sat down talking. You can sort problems out no matter what they are. And this is what I try to do in Sheffield. You know, I try when I go out of the place, people say, where are you from? Sheffield. In the 80s, Ernie Fuzzy, who's the matchmaker for us now, he says, Sheffield, he says, they've locked the gates and chucked the key away when all the steelworks was going. He says, you watch what's going to happen, you know, in the next few years. And now Sheffield is blossoming all over the place. It's a lovely place to live. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Brendan Ingle, I think people listening to you in the last half hour who perhaps didn't know too much about you half an hour ago realised, quite frankly, there's a lot of depth to you, and we thank you very much for coming along. And just the final word, you've had a lot of lightweights, but you've got a heavyweight coming along. What's his name? Just leave us with his name.
Watch him. Watch out for him. Pelly Reid, like the footballer. I could be wrong, and I have been wrong. In the next 18 months to 2 years, this fella's going to be something special. Pelly
Reid, remember, you first heard it on Yorkshire Television. That's it. Thank you very much indeed. Brendan Ingle, goodbye.